I was born into the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I am Kanaka Maoli, or Native Hawaiian, and my mother was raised in the Mormon Church, and so she had basically thrown away her own ethnicity and had internalized racism and misogyny all through the time I was growing up. I also had an aunt who was full Cherokee and was adopted. And so when I was growing up, I felt a great affinity, compassion, connection, and brotherhood to both Native Americans, Hawaiians, because that's the lineage of the fictitious Book of Mormon, as well as to Jews, because Mormonism teaches that we're all the house of Israel. So this was my, upbringing. I depended upon my parents to educate me on my own culture and people. And there was a book my father read to us a lot of times when we were camping or at bedtime called Indian Tales for Little Folks by some white guy named El Comancho. So you can tell how these stories are probably told. There was an especially memorable one called Why the Wood Duck Has Red Eyes. And, it's a variation of European stories that you've heard, or Brer Rabbit stories where the trickster gets people to do stupid things. Well, in this case, the guy's named Unktumi, and he sees this lake full of ducks, geese, and swans, and lifts up a basket of reeds, a bunch of reeds on his back, and tells them he's got bad songs for ducks. And, all the ducks and geese and swan want to hear this horrible stuff because they've never heard it before. And so he asks them to build a lodge with a very small opening and very tightly woven. And then he has them sing and dance inside of his lodge, and while they're dancing with their eyes shut, he wrings their necks and kills them. And while he's killing an especially large bird, it let out a squawk, and the wood duck opened its eyes to see what the noise was and discovered the truth, that Unktumi was actually killing them to eat. And so he warned his brothers and sisters, and they all fled and, pounded him with their beaks and claws and left him for dead. But the story then goes on to gaslight the wood duck, saying, that's why this duck has red eyes, because it was bad and wanted to listen to bad songs for ducks. I never realized until today that the story was victim blaming. Why was Unktumi not condemned? What was wrong with the wood duck? So if somebody tells you your countenance has changed since leaving the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, please remember Pandora. You have looked at all the horrors and the truth of it, and you found hope at the bottom that you could choose differently.